For 74 years, Preacher Brandon worked at Memphis International Airport, where he became the face of Memphis to the corporate world of aviation. Mr. Brandon's charisma, his smiles, and his brand of customer service made him an icon at Tennessee's largest airport. Milton L. Brandon was born February 24, 1921 in Oakville, Tennessee. He graduated from Jeter High School in Shelby County in 1941, where he had been a member of the basketball team. He was united in holy matrimony to Grace Y. Collins in 1963. He became an ordained minister in 1965. Preacher's first full-time job at Memphis Municipal Airport was in 1937, where he sold peanuts and popcorn. During World War II, at the old Clarksdale Airport, he taught airmen how to hand-prop the Stearman airplane engine, and he worked at the National Guard's PX. Brandon worked for the FBO Memphis Aero and its successors, the last being Signature Flight Support. He drove the courtesy van and met many famous people, including Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Michael Jordan, and, of course, Elvis. Every pilot that ever met Preacher Brandon never forgot him. His eternal optimism, his caring way and love of his Lord and of his fellow man were exemplified through his special gift for encouraging others with his homespun wit and wisdom. The Memphis area aviation community honored Preacher Brandon for his exemplary contributions to the Memphis area in 1998 by inducting him into the Memphis Aviation Legends Hall of Fame. He also received honors from the City of Memphis and the Memphis International Airport. For his extraordinary and enduring service and his contributions to aviation for Memphis, for Tennessee, and our nation, Milton L. Brandon is honored by and inducted into the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame this 9th day of November, 2013.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting the award for Milton L. Preacher Brandon is Mrs. Joy Vernon, niece of Preacher Brandon. Plaque and a medallion for him.
Thank you.
And you may say something if you like.
Thank you. Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. I am so delighted and so proud to be here today to accept this honor on behalf of my uncle. Grace Brandon, his wife, due to illness, is unable to be here tonight, but she, along with the rest of the family, want to thank the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame for including our uncle in this celebration of people who have made a difference in aviation due to their hard work, their dedication to duty, and just their loyalty, and for just being good people, because my uncle was a very good man. I was listening to the bio being read, and I found a letter, and I want to read it part of it very briefly. This is from an old friend of his who saw an article about my uncle in the Commercial Appeal in September of 2003. First of all, he said, "I'm really proud of you and our friendship. The thing I remember most about you was back in 1927 when they opened the airport. You and I were running around there. You had a parachute backpack on your back that was about to break your legs, but you never took it off. I had a pair of white pants that my mother washed every night and ironed. The two of us had passes to go through the lines on the field where the airplanes were. We thought we were really big operators. And I said, well, in 1927, I think my uncle was about 7 years old. And I can still imagine him running through the airport because he lived near there. I don't know how long he's been running around that airport, but there are some things about my uncle that I do know, and I want to share with you very briefly. My uncle, number one, he loved the Lord. He was a very good man. The second thing I know about him is he loved his job. He would not miss a day's work unless there were circumstances totally beyond his control. I remember in December 2005, the weatherman had announced that there might be inclement weather the next day. I got up, I looked out the door, I called my job, and I went back to bed. About 5 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was my uncle. "You not at work?" I said, "No, Uncle Milton, where are you?" He said, "I'm at work. That's where I'm supposed to be. Do you want me to pick you up?" I said, "No." My uncle was 84 years old in 2005. He would not miss a day's work. His wife often accused him of being married to his job. The other thing I know about my uncle is that he loved airplanes and he loved the airports, any airport. One of our favorite outings was to go to the Milton Navy base and watch the air shows. My uncle had worked around planes so long that I think he had kind of lost his hearing, so he talked very loudly. And he would entertain the audience, telling them what kind of plane that is, what's the name of this plane, what kind of roads, what kind of aerobatics the pilot's going to do. And his favorite was, "And watch him next, watch him. He's going to pull out of that. He's going to do a spin." And he would be so excited about that. He absolutely just loved it. The other thing I know about him is that he loved and respected the people that he worked with and the people that he met coming through the airport. He had an infallible memory. He could remember their names. He could remember stories or jokes they had told him in the past. And due to that, I think he got that award in 1998 from the Memphis Aviation Legend Hall of Fame for being an excellent customer service representative and an ambassador to Memphis to all the traveling public that came through that airport. Sometimes, well, interestingly enough, I do want to say this. He never really mentioned the people that he met coming through the airport. I would read it in the paper. I said, "You mean Elvis talked to you and asked you what pilot should he get for his plane, the Hound Dogs?" Well, I read it in the paper. And then occasionally he would get cards in gifts from people, and I would just be amazed at who they would be from. I was like shocked. And sometimes they would even send wine and maybe a little Jack Daniels, and my uncle prided himself on never drinking. So thank all of you, because I drank it all. That was my gift, and he would watch me very carefully. "You mean you're gonna drink another drink?" "Yeah, Uncle Milton, I think so." But he was just a wonderful man, and sometimes when you work with people, you know them by their work ethics and how they behave at work, and sometimes you wonder, are they the same at home? The answer is a resounding yes, he was. He was the same person at home. He was very hardworking, gardening, helping neighbors cut their grass, helping family members, and very loving. But I agree with his wife, his first love was that airport. But since we are today celebrating veterans, I want to tell you just a little bit about his family. His older brother, my dad, Herman Brandon, retired from the U.S. Air Force. He was an engineer on the B-52 bomber. His youngest brother, Uncle Ewan, was in the Army during the Korean War. He was MIA and presumed dead. His two sisters joined the WACs during World War II. He had two nephews that served in Vietnam. One was a Green Beret. He's not here tonight. The other one was an armor in the Corps and served in Vietnam. His name is Leon. He's here with us tonight. I'm glad to have him here from Washington. My brother, captain in the Air Force, and 2 nephews who were in the Navy. So we as a family really want to thank the veterans, and we want to honor and respect the sacrifices they have made for this great country. And I know that, and want to thank the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame again, because I know that my uncle is smiling down from heaven in amazement. This is such an honor, and it's such a permanent honor to be enshrined anywhere. And we really thank you, and I know that he is one happy person right now. Thank you so much for this honor. I can't pick it up either.
It's like it's stuck.
It's stuck.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I want to know, how many people in this room had the pleasure of riding in the van with Preacher? I don't see any hands. Yeah, I see some hands back there. Back a number of years ago, I was in and out of Memphis a fair bit, and I had the pleasure of riding with Preacher on a number of occasions. And he made the trip really enjoyable. And he didn't just go to one place to drop you off. He'd ask everybody, where do you want to go? And if there were 4 or 5 different places, he'd go to 4 or 5 different places. And always made you feel like you were somebody, and that he just enjoyed being with you that day. So, and it is interesting that in aviation, it isn't all about pilots. It really isn't all about the airplane necessarily, because there are people who maintain them, there are people who do the weather, there are people who are controllers, and there are people who service other people, like Preacher. And that's one of the memories I treasure about him, is just riding in the van